hockey. Wild. Who?
Oh my gosh, we were above average.
Ooh! High fives for everybody.
All I can say is, wow.
Hold on to your butt.
Shall we begin?
They're calling it a Falness Friday. I'm okay with that. Back in the big seat for Paul Allen and Eric Nordquist. Kevin Falness here on the other side of the glass. It's my buddy Brett Blakemore. Feeling better, it sounds like, Brett?
Hi, Kevin. Yes, I am feeling better. I'm almost there. So we're at the finish line.
You look good.
Thank you.
I've got an action-packed show planned for the next 3 hours as we
Day
fill
off
in for
for me.
Paul Allen.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, well, you're going to be interactive, and we'll get to that
right.
here in a little bit. But I want to start a little different. There's so much going on besides hockey. There's the Olympics. There's the NBA All-Star break. That's over. The Timberwolves are back on the floor tonight. Vikings, they're still looking for a general manager. Who's going to be their quarterback this year? Baseball season is underway. Bad news out of Florida, but regardless, the Twins season is right around the corner. I have no idea where to begin. So, you know me, I hate stealing bits, but I got to go to the Wheel of Topic.
No, I almost swung the clubs the other day when it was 50 degrees. Maybe it lands on that.
Could it be golf?
Minnesota Wild.
I guess if we gotta, let's go to the hotline right off the bat and talk to that star defenseman for the Minnesota Wild.
Ralph found a man creeping in. Middleton scores! A laser by Middleton, a one-timer. Right by Middleton. A couple of good ones down at center with the rights by Jake Middleton. Walks in. Middleton shoots. He scores!
Star defenseman indeed, in my eyes, Jake Middleton. Welcome to KFAN. Kevin Falness here with you. How you doing, buddy?
Doing good. Better now. A star defenseman call at 9 in the morning. That feels nice.
How is it? You're back in the state of hockey. Let me live through you for a minute. I did nothing during the Olympic break. I stayed home. I was with my kids. I watched a ton of youth hockey. What did you do? Tell me you went somewhere warm.
Went somewhere warm and left the kids at home. We, Spurgeons, Hartman, and our significant others took a trip down to Costa Rica and enjoyed the 90-degree weather for 7 days.
How bizarre is this? I mean, you get all-star breaks during the season, but this is just this big clump of time. It was such a rush to get to the Olympic break, and it's going to be a rush coming out of it. What is this oasis like as you get into this routine and then you just put the brakes on for 3 weeks?
Yeah, no, it's weird. I think the hardest part right now is coming back, and the guys who aren't at the Olympics, we're doing another kind of mini training camp right now. So you're shocking the system 2 times in a couple weeks off, and but no, it's good. You know, it makes you really excited to want to get back to playing the game.
You did get on the ice a couple of days ago. What was that first touch like as you try to get your legs and your wind and all that other good stuff back?
Yeah, first 2 days we got up and down the ice quite a bit, trying to get the legs back and sweating some stuff out. But it's good. Everyone's looking good and crisp, so everyone's excited to be back on the ice.
I'm sure everyone's got a nice glow about them too as they're sporting these brand new tans. One guy that's out there, because Philip Gustafsson and Jesper Wallstedt were very intently doing their job over there in the Olympics for Team Sweden. Marc-Andre Fleury back on the ice. It's always a welcome sign to see the future Hall of Famer out there, huh?
Yeah, Flowers just the man. I mean, I don't like it. I can't score on in practice, so it's a little unnerving for me. But he's just a blast to have around the room again.
I'm sure a lot of your downtime has been taking in some of the Olympics, at least a little bit. I mean, you got a rooting interest on one side of the border. You've got teammates on the other side. So what was it like? What has it been like for you thus far, taking in the Olympics as a whole, but especially the Winter Olympics as it comes to hockey?
Yeah, it's been really cool to see all these guys have the success they're having, especially our teammates, and then to be blessed as a hockey fan with the quarterfinals we got to watch the other day was pretty exceptional. And yeah, no, it's been good. Today's going to be an exciting day too. I'm heading to a friend's house right now to catch the early Canada game, and then I think we all might meet up to watch the U.S. later this afternoon.
Give me your impressions of Quinn Hughes as a teammate and the guy that scored one of the biggest goals in the history of American hockey.
Yeah, Hughes, he's just a rock star, and you know when the puck's on his stick that he's going to make something make something happen, and he did on the biggest stage.
He's unbelievable, Jake. I think for fans here, they're getting accustomed to seeing him now, but I don't think they really realized just how good this dude is until you get to see him in a Wild uniform. How about for you? When did it click for you that, I mean, this is reality? You can pinch yourself all you want. It's not a dream. Quinn Hughes is a member of the Minnesota Wild.
Yeah, to touch on that, we kind of had the same conversation as players. You know, when we played against him, and he was on the opposing team with Vancouver, you knew he was a threat. You knew he was an all-star. But then when you're on his bench or he's on your bench and you're watching him for your team, you just kind of notice all the little things he does night in and night out that are beyond exceptional, right? He's a superstar, and it's just it's so cool to see. And I mean, that guy gives us a pinch-me moment almost every game with how good he is and the plays he makes.
Yeah, and then we got to see it in 3-on-3 hockey there for the Americans in the quarterfinals. He's back on the ice today for the semifinals. A couple quick ones for you, and then we'll get you out of here. Bottom of the hour, we're having Jack Capuano on. Everyone knows about John Hines. He's on the radio weekly with Paul Allen. We don't hear a lot from Jack Capuano. What's he like to work with? What's he like as a coach?
Passionate hockey fan, passionate hockey man. He's just a good East Coast guy, simple, easy to talk to. You guys will have a blast with him on.
Awesome. Can't wait to hear from him. Now the break is almost over. We're closing. We're under a week away. I think probably like 5-6 days, and you'll be on the ice in Colorado. You guys went into the break on a heater, winning 5 in a row. We know you're second place in the division, second place in the conference. We can recap all of that. But how do you pick up where you left off now, going up against the number one team in hockey come out of the Olympic break?
Well, by getting our feet under us in this week of training camp that we got, if we can use that to our advantage, that should give us a start coming out of the gate. And hopefully the guys that were at the Olympics and come back get a little bit of rest, and they're rejuvenated as well. But yeah, if we can be firing on all cylinders from the first back-to-back there in Colorado and Utah, hopefully we'll have success throughout the rest of the year.
Last one for you.
I think we only got 24 games or
That's
something,
it.
Right?
Yeah, 24 games are left on the schedule before you get to the playoffs. Take October out of the equation. How much fun has this season been for you as a guy now in his 5th season here in Minnesota?
Yeah. I mean, even if you had October, I still get to play hockey and chase a puck around for a living, so it wasn't so bad. But, yeah, just the guys, the group we have, I think, we all kind of beat a dead horse on that. Just the camaraderie we have in the room and the character, and the guys love showing up to work every day. And we're blessed to be able to do that and win some hockey games along the way, and hopefully make the city and state proud. Thanks for helping us start the show, Jake. Enjoy the hockey today, and we'll see you back on the ice here very soon. See you guys. Take care. There you go. Wild defenseman Jake Middleton helping us start the show here, 9 to noon, filling in for Paul Allen. My name is Kevin Falness. That's Jake Middleton, 8 seasons in the National Hockey League, 5th with the Minnesota Wild. This season, a goal and 13 points in 51 games. To go along with that, he's got 57 minutes in penalties. He's not Jared Spurgeon. He's not Quinn Hughes. He's not Jonas Brodin. He's not Brock Faber. But I still think, in my mind, Brett Blakemore, that Jake Middleton plays a valuable role on the blue line for this Minnesota Wild team.
Absolutely. And his pairing sometimes with Spurgeon, it's a solid pairing, and he's a guy who can clear guys out of the net. No, he's anywhere. He's far away from guys that annoy me watching him. I mean, he's a really good player.
That's funny. Well, good to hear from Jake Middleton. It's right around the corner, the return of the Minnesota Wild season. I know the Timberwolves start tonight in Dallas, and things started to fall into place. I really had a driving desire to have Johnny Krasinski on today, just because then we could go back and forth.
He's available.
No, I'm jammed. It's just unfortunate. I can't squeeze him in, but it would have been a lot of fun. When you look at our guest lineup, I think you'll see why. Coming up up in just this hour, we got Jack Capuano, the Wild associate coach, is going to join us at the bottom of the hour, and he'll get us kind of prepared for the return to action as the Minnesota Wild make their way back to the regular season. Like we said with Midzi, 24 games left in the regular season, and then we're off to the best part of the year, which is playoff hockey, which unbelievably is right around the corner. That is going to be a sprint to the finish line. Before that, though, Brad Frost, Golden Gopher women's head coach, is going to check in to talk about that big gold medal win for Team USA yesterday. Brad Frost, what does he have to do with that? Well, about a third of the roster have ties directly back to Brad Frost, and they've got a big matchup this weekend at Ritter Arena, so we'll preview that with Brad Frost and recap the gold coming home to where it belongs. The 10 o'clock hour, it starts off with Tony Scott, doubleheader of youth hockey from the Youth Hockey Hub. He's got the girls down there in St. Paul for the high school tournament on the girls' side. Section tournaments are going on the boys' side. So I can't think of anyone better to get us up to date on the youth hockey scene than Tony Scott of Youth Hockey Hub. So he'll be in for about a half hour starting at 10 o'clock. We got Joe O'Donnell get us another primer for the 11 o'clock hour for the return of the Minnesota Wild. And Brody Lamb will finish things up. The senior forward for the Golden Gophers will join us about 11:35, get an update from one of the guys in his farewell tour here on the U of M campus. Brody Lamb, I'm told, is a wonderful interview. Can't wait to talk to him. But this is the star of the show. Listen to this, Brett Blakemore. When I got my start in radio 30 years ago, when I left Minnesota, I ended up in Denver, and I worked a little show out there, starting a brand new all-sports station. And the first guy that I produced a show for was the name of Woody Page. Do you know who Woody Page is, Brett Blakemore?
I've seen his signs for decades.
Yeah, I mean, you know him as the guy on Around the Horn, the smart aleck there in front of the camera. I can't believe he ended up doing TV. From the Woody Page that I knew was all about, the columns, and he did some radio stuff, and I just can't believe how things have blossomed for him. So I can't wait to touch base with him. We've exchanged messages over the years, but I haven't talked to him in probably at least 25, maybe even 30 years. So that'll be fun. About 10:35, Woody Page of Around the Horn and more will join us to talk a little bit about everything going on in the world. In his world, get an update on him, and I've got some other cool topics. He's like the Sid Hartman of Denver. Not quite to that age, but still, he's been around the block for a few decades, if you get my drift. So let's squeeze in that first break. We want to get to Brad Frost. A ton of action coming your way over the next few hours. As you can assume, it's going to be hockey intensive. We did the Wheel of Topics, so I feel like I did my due diligence, so we'll do the best we can. But we're talking to Brad Frost next on The Fan.
Here on KFAN.
Good pass for Keller, and defenseman. Nice move. Cuts to the net. Score! Megan Keller, the overtime hero. United States wins gold and belong.
The golden goal, courtesy of our friends at NBC. Kenny Albert doing an amazing job on all the calls that he's had, including that one. The Americans bring home the gold on the women's side. I can't think of a guy better to talk about it than Brad Frost, head coach at the University of Minnesota for the girls squad. Brad, Kevin Falness at KFAN, thanks for joining us, man. Have you come out down off your high yet?
That was a pretty exciting one. We were watching as a staff in our coach's room, and when Hillary Knight tied it up there with the goalie out, and then Keller's great play there to finish it was pretty special.
I definitely want an update on your squad, but while we're on the conversation, like you said, they pull the goaltender, they tie it. When it's 1-0 for almost the duration of regulation, what's the tension like in that room with the group that you're watching?
Yeah, it was pretty tense. You know, obviously they got that face off there late in the zone, and great call by John Robleski there to pull the goalie. You know, when the U.S. won the draw and kind of had it on the half wall, and Canada didn't pressure, it kind of sat back. We were just like, oh boy. You know, it was just a matter of getting one through and some traffic in front, and that's usually how goals go in.
How well do you know Robleski?
Not real well. We've talked several times. Obviously, have so many alums and current player Abby Murphy on the team. So we've talked a few times, but I wouldn't say that I know him really well. But
you, I'm sure, have an immense amount of respect for the job that he did. That's not an easy tournament, and especially the way they're steamrolling through the competition, including blanking Canada 5-0 in the prelim, and then to come down to that game the way it did, you got to tip your hat to him.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. There's,
obviously the U.S. kind of dominated the rivalry series, those 4 games earlier this year, and then dominating in the Olympics, beating Canada 5-0 there in the preliminary round. So they were certainly the favorites. But we all know it's Hugh McCutcheon, one of our associate ADs who used to coach volleyball at Minnesota, coached the men's and women's volleyball teams for the U.S. He said you trained for 4 years, for 2 weeks, for 2 hours, and so you get to that last game and it's 2 hours and it's a flip of the coin. Like you hope that you hope that all your training and everything kind of comes to fruition in that 2 hours.
Well, anybody that watches it knows who got the goals in Knight and Keller, but your former players all over the place. Tyler Heisey sets up the winner. Zumwinkle was there, Panic, Steckline, current Gopher captain Abby Murphy, as you said. Everyone's proud of these gals, but it has to give you even a little extra pride to see those familiar faces contributing on the highest stage possible.
For sure. I think the biggest thing is just that, I've kind of had a front row seat here to see them reach their dreams and their ultimate goals. And, winning a gold medal, making the Olympic team. I mean, those are things that they've dreamt about since they were little. And to be able to see that kind of up close and personal is so special. As you mentioned, Heisey with that awesome stretch pass there to Keller for the winner. People aren't talking about Murphy's back check a few minutes before.
Yeah.
When Daryl Watts had the breakaway and she catches up to her and strips the puck, and all of a sudden things turn around there a few minutes later, and they're getting the gold medal instead of the silver medal.
Tell me about Abby Murphy. I think people are getting exposed to her and what kind of a player she is. I saw Bill Guerin was quoted as saying that that's his new favorite player. Is she your favorite player? You probably can't admit that out loud.
Well, I can tell you that over the last 4 weeks, we've really missed her goal scoring and her leadership and her pace of play. I mean, she's an incredible kid, Southside Chicago kid, always plays with a little bit of an edge. There really isn't anybody like her in women's hockey that has the ability to get under the opposition's skin, be physical, but also to just bury you with putting the puck in the net at the same time. And so happy for her, so proud of her, and happy for her and her family. And we've missed her over the last number of weeks, but she'll be coming back here for our playoff games next weekend.
So you won't have, I think it's obvious you won't have her this weekend, but just to confirm, she's not here this weekend.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. No, they chose to stay for the closing ceremonies, which I think are on Monday, and so she'll be back sometime next week.
I think that's a good idea there for Abby Murphy and the rest of the gals. Celebrate that Olympic gold, long time coming, and they get it done there in Milan. As for the Gopher women's team, your A job, 24-7-1 on the season, 10-3-1 at Ritter Arena. You dropped a pair last week into Ohio State, but you're back at it again tonight and tomorrow on home ice against Minnesota Duluth. Tickets are available at gophersports.com. Give me kind of a synopsis of how the season have gone thus far.
Yeah, it's been a wonderful season. We've been anywhere in that 1, 2, 3 spot nationally. Really love our team. Great depth. Goaltending is really good. We had 4 Olympians that have been gone the last 3-4 weeks, and so we've kind of lacked some scoring here over the last number of games, which has hurt us a little bit. But our effort, doing the things that you have to start with. Our team has been doing really well, and just really love the balance that we have, and excited to make a run here for a national championship.
Give me a preview of the weekend against the Bulldogs. Always great when you get the interstate stuff going, and you've got them on home ice. Again, 6 o'clock tonight, 2 o'clock tomorrow. Tickets available at gophersports.com. Always a good watch there at Ritter Arena. What should we expect? Gophers and Bulldogs center ice at Ritter.
Yeah, it should be another great series. Bulldogs are 4th in the WCHA behind us, but they have Eve Gascon, who's a goaltender for them. She was the last goalie cut from the Canadian Olympic team. She's arguably the best goalie in our league. Caitlin Kramer's another player forward for them, their leading scorer that got cut from the Canadian Olympic team as well. And so, they're a dangerous team. A lot of Minnesota kids They always play well here this time of year, and they're well coached. So should be a great matchup for us.
We've talked a lot about the women's side. How about on the men's side? You got the semifinals today for Canada and Finland about to get underway here in about 15 minutes. The Americans will take on Slovakia. I'd have to assume you're going to have that same little setup, taking in the action as close to the TV as you can get.
You got that right. Yeah, being growing up in Canada, I obviously really enjoy watching the men's Olympic team, as Canadian Olympic team, as well as the U.S. Olympic team. So we'll have those games on, and man, have those things been exciting. You look at 3 of the 4 quarterfinal games going into overtime, and there's just so much talent, so much parity. So I would imagine these semifinal games and the bronze and gold games will be unbelievable hockey as well.
Both teams in the semifinals have some hurdles to get over, so I don't want to look past Finland, and I'm certainly not going to look past Slovakia. But let's say everyone gets their wish. It's Canada and U.S. Sunday morning for the gold medal. Where do your allegiance lie then? Do you root for the homeland? Do you root for your current stateside here with the red, white, and blue? What are you going to do, Brad?
I think I'll probably be right down the middle, and I'll win either way. So, what a showcase though for hockey. I mean, it's just so good to have the NHLers back in the Olympics, and to see the talent that both all the teams, but in particular Canada and US have is just so special. It's so amazing to watch, and I imagine many people will be tuning in, so hopefully that Canada-U.S. game can happen.
Sounds great, Brad. Thanks for making time here. Good luck the rest of the season, and I'm sure we'll reach out here very shortly on Beyond the Pond.
I appreciate it, Kevin. Thanks. Have a great day.
There you go. Brad Frost, head coach of the Golden Gopher women's hockey team. As mentioned, 24-7-1 on the season. Stubbed their toe a little bit last week against the second-ranked Ohio State Buckeyes, but they're back at it again tonight, trying to make amends against the Bulldogs of UMD. Friday, that's tonight at 6 o'clock, tomorrow afternoon at 2. Tickets available at gophersports.com. Go see Brad Frost and the rest of the Gophers go toe-to-toe with the Bulldogs on the U of M campus. So that should be a blast. Why don't I do this? Take a little break early there, Brett. And what we're going to do, we're going to talk to Jack Capuano next. But then I'm thinking we can probably squeeze in some Brett Blakemore's breakaways before the top of the hour. How's that to spring that on you right here and right now?
Oh, you can't wait, can you?
I can't wait. The only thing that would make it better is if Pat Micheletti was here to pour water on every great idea you have. I feel bad because I did have to take, when Woody Page finally responded yes, he joined, I had to kick Micheletti to the side. And I feel bad about that, but I talk to him every week, so I don't think he feels bad about it. And he was on yesterday with PA, so it was something new, something different. So my apologies out loud and proud to Pat Micheletti. But yes, on the other side of break, not only Jack Capuano, an update on the Minnesota Wild, but it's very possible we'll also get the return of Brett Blakemore's breakaways on the Fan.
Now Quinn Hughes, we played 3.5 minutes in overtime. Quinn Hughes shoots, he scores! He scores! Quinn Hughes in overtime wins it, and the United States will move on and face Slovakia in the semis.
Kenny Albert once again on NBC. One of those guys with Minnesota Wild ties gets the Americans past those pesky Swedes, and they're off to the semifinals coming up later on this afternoon. One guy that I know has been an interested observer in everything American hockey is Wild associate coach Jack Capuano. Nice enough to join us now on KFAN. Jack, I'm Kevin Falness. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Hey, just had Jake Middleton on at the top of the hour, and we were talking a little bit about what he did during the Olympic break. I know you're back in the fire again. Did you get a chance to take a breather and get away from hockey for a couple of days at least at the start of the break?
You know what I did? We went down to Florida with I took my wife and my daughter and her husband and my grandson who's 3 years old, and spent 4 days on the beach. And actually had a great time. So the weather was good. Got to spend some time with the grandson, which was great.
That is outstanding. Like I said with Jake, this is kind of an oasis in the middle of the grind that is, and especially for a coach. I mean, it's tough enough for a player, but for the coaches, I mean, you guys are burning the midnight oil. This is just kind of like strange. It's almost like the middle of summer in the middle of winter where you get just a time where there's just nothing going on because of this extended Olympic break. How nice has this been?
It's been nice. Obviously, we're still dialed in here. We met as soon as everybody got back last week, 4 days prior to the return to play, to make sure that we had, again, our video and our practice plans ready to go, similar to the Four Nations. But this year's, obviously, I think we had the most Olympians off any team. So we got 3 lines and we got 6 defensemen. We got a couple guys coming back from Sweden here on Tuesday, and then Sturmy as well. But, so it's a little bit different formation as you go through as far as your drills. But, you want to get back to your framework and your structure, and most importantly, you want to get back to the timing and conditioning so we're ready to play against Colorado next week.
How hard? I mean, these are professional athletes. They're fine-tuned. I don't think a week away from the ice is going to set them back all that much, but what did they look like? Other than that brand new tan a lot of them are sporting, how did they look in that first day back on the ice?
You know what? We met with them before, as we did last year again. They're professional. Like, we have a veteran group. They know collectively how important the first half was for us and where we are in the standings, and it's been all business. And we know that the second half's going to be tough as well, and we want to position ourselves the best that we can. Obviously, a lot of teams are going to be fighting for playoff spots and home ice, and we want to be one of those teams, obviously. So, but the first 2 days were really good. They had a day off today, just a treat and train day, and we'll be back at it tomorrow. But the tempo is going to obviously increase every day. They're well aware of that. But like I said, the character, the commitment level of our players has been excellent.
A massive push coming up for your squad coming out of the Olympic break. You got 24 games left before you start the postseason, and that's going to be fantastic. But before we look forward, let's look back to the first almost 60 games of this season. How would you recap it? Outside of I think we can all agree dropping 9 of 12 to start the year was not the preferred method to get on things underway, but you put October behind you, and you've been rolling ever since. How would you sum up the first almost 60 games?
Yeah, I think the start, like you said, was not the start that we wanted, especially after the way that we finished last year. And then I thought we played really well against Vegas in the first round of the playoffs. But like I said, we got an experienced group, we got a veteran group. I think the guys came together after that little losing streak. But the one thing about our group is they understand the identity that we have to play with. And when we got back to that identity, when we played within our structure, we had success. And obviously, our goaltending has been excellent for us. We were scoring quite a few goals. We were giving up a little bit too much, but we kind of tightened that up there. But overall, I would say that our group has played really well and has played within the structure and the framework and the foundation and the identity that we need to play. I think they realize that when we get off script and we don't play every team in the league has to play a certain way, right? So we might be different than other teams, but we know exactly the way that we have to be to play to be successful.
And the stats speak for itself, 34, 14, and 10 into the break and riding a 5-game win streak. But it sounded like going into that break, Jack, if you can help rewind again, that 5-game win streak was awesome. You piled up the points and all that is good, but it didn't feel like you guys felt like you were playing your game to its perfection. Maybe a little loosey-goosey defensively. Maybe some things were lacking. What things are you trying to tighten up now as the race really heats up coming out of the break, starting with that trip to Colorado?
Yeah, you're exactly right. I think that we realize as a team with the players that we have, we're going to score goals. There's no question. Like we're down 2-0 after 2. We come back and score 3 in one of the games. Like we're going to score. We just got to make sure that, we tighten up defensively a little bit. And, that's the big thing with us. And we know that good defense leads to great offense, and we're going to just continue to nail that home with our guys, but they know that as a group. So that would be the one area, like you said, if we can, I don't know why we got away from it a little bit, why we were a little loosey-goosey, but, that's a sign of a good team when you get out of your structure a little bit and you still win, but, we can be better and we know that.
Talking to Wild associate coach Jack Capuano leading the charge here while John Hines is leading the Americans from the bench along with Mike Sullivan and crew for the red, white, and blue in action later today against Slovakia. I thought this team was playing well even before the massive trade, and then you land the blackbuster that is Quinn Hughes. We're seeing him on an international level. We see him in a Wild uniform, and we know just how good he is. How has he changed the dynamics of this team since landing here in December?
I think it changes your mindset. I think, with Craig and Billy making a move like this, what it does to the room, right? To the guys in the room that, our time is now. We're not getting any younger as a team. We have a veteran group. We have a group that can do some damage. Billy knows that. And, that trade that he made shows to the players that, hey, this is where we are as an organization. We want to take the next step. So not only landing a player that's going to help your team, but it does do something mentally in the mindset for the players as well and gives them that confidence.
What's it been like for you watching the Olympics then? I mean, the entire thing has been great. The men's ice hockey has been something special. And that game in particular, the Americans and the Swedes going toe-to-toe in the quarterfinals. It was just interesting in my mind to see Joel Eriksson, for example, battling Brock Faber, taking punches to the head. One time he goes down, he gets right back up in typical Joel Eriksson fashion. What was it like for you as a guy with a rooting interest to watch that game unfold in particular?
Well, number one, you don't want to see anybody get injured, right? When you go to these tournaments and it's a short tournament. But B, when guys play for the country, they play hard and they're going to battle against one another and they're going to do whatever it takes to win. So, it's been a good tournament. It was great watching the women's game yesterday too. Like I enjoyed watching that. And then now we're down to, the final four teams here that, start here this morning and then this afternoon. But, it's like anything else, right? You're watching your guys, you're rooting them in, you want to see everybody do well no matter what team they're on, even though I'm from the U.S. But I thought Sweden, the U.S. game was a really good game. It was a tight game like we all thought it would be. And now moving forward, we'll see if it ends up U.S.-Canada.
Just a couple more for you, Jack. Really appreciate your time. Jack Capuano joining us here on KFAN. Listening to some of the accounts from the postgame afterwards, a lot of the guys on the bench said they could see this Quinn Hughes play developing, that this is kind of his patented thing, to find space in the middle and then drive the net, and then he sends that just wicked wrist shot over the glove of Markstrom. Could you, as a coach, see that developing as overtime was going on?
Well, the thing about Quinn, everybody talks about, his hockey IQ and, how he's elusive and deceptive and everything. But if you watch that play, and you watch it develop, he knew that he had some tired players on the ice for the opposition, and he didn't change, right? He stayed on the ice. And then when he got in the zone, he does what he does, right? He cuts back. He turns quickly. He's a possession type guy, and he's not afraid to shoot the puck, and that's exactly what he did. Kind of used him as a screen, and great shot off the post, and then sends U.S. to the semi game. But doesn't surprise me with his skill level and confidence in how he plays the game.
Help me set the table for this afternoon. It's Canada and Finland this morning. That's about to get underway. Probably they have dropped the puck, I think, over there in Milan. But the big one that we're going to be paying attention to, the United States against Slovakia. Definitely not a pushover. The United States can't look past Slovakia. And that goaltender with Minnesota Wild ties, Samuel Halavai. How impressed have you been about this kid that you probably remember well from training camp?
Yeah, and he is a big man, and he's square to the puck, and he battles and he works hard. So, it'll be a good game. I think you're exactly correct. The U.S. can't look by him. Obviously, they're the favorite. Obviously, in this game, a lot more talent, but as we know, you have to play as a team. But Slovak, they'll be excited to play, and if U.S. just continues to play the way they play and stay disciplined, I think they got a great chance to move on.
Last thing for you. How excited are you to get back to regular game situations, and you're playing every other night and sometimes 3 games in 4 nights? How excited are you for this final push into the playoffs with just 24 games left on the docket?
I'm excited because I've been around for a while and I've coached in different organizations, and I've said this before, like, this is probably the best team that I've been around. When you look at the personnel that we have and what Billy and Craig have done for the organization, and not to mention both goaltenders that we have, this is a very special group. So I'm really looking forward to dropping the puck here against Colorado here shortly.
Outstanding, Jack. It'll be here before you know it. Enjoy the hockey today, and thanks for taking some time for us today.
Thanks, Kev.
Jack Capuano, Wild associate coach, getting ready for the return to the NHL grind. It's been a break, man. I can't believe. Don't tell anyone, Brett. I haven't been to St. Paul since February 3rd, whatever that last game was. I haven't gone back there since. I can do a lot of work remotely. It's not like I'm just sleeping in every day and not doing anything. That's the common misperception. I'm still working, but I haven't been to St. Paul since that final game against Nashville, which was a 6-5 overtime
drive from
thriller.
St. Louis Park.
It is, man. I'll tell you what, listening to your horror story the other day in driving the traffic here, not to pick an old scab because I know that wasn't a lot of fun, but I almost went to St. Paul that day. And I was thinking about what the commute would have been like for me coming back from there to St. Louis Park, listening to you and then listening to Guardsy try to get to the barn. I'm glad I made the decision to exercise my option on that day.
It was the perfect storm of just
literally
snow, rush hour, plows couldn't get out.
Ugh.
I mean, literally, I could have biked to work faster. Yeah, I've worked here 7 years. The longest it's ever taken me is 45 minutes. Took me an hour and a half yesterday.
That's just
unbelievable.
That is unfortunate.
Yeah.
It made for entertaining radio, and I could only imagine, like, as heated as Guardsy was getting on the air, I could only imagine what he was like when the microphone was off and he's trying, it wasn't your fault. It wasn't his fault, but he's up against the clock here. He's got a game to call, the biggest game of the season, maybe of his career.
The phone call we had, we couldn't be aired over airways. I'll tell you that. So.
Oh, there's nothing worse. You know what? Let's do a little.
Let's do it.
We do this for those of you listening, and this is a different audience potentially than Beyond the Pond that we do every Saturday morning from 10 to noon on KFAN with not only Brett Blakemore and myself, but our good friend Pat Micheletti. But a staple for Beyond the Pond is it's become this thing called Brett Blakemore's Breakaways.
It's time for Brett Blakemore's Breakaways.
Kaprizov in alone. Nobody gonna catch him. Kaprizov scores!
To edit it to Quinn Hughes breakaway.
Oh yeah, that'd be pretty fun. Maybe we'll have to do that.
And now,
maybe you can get off your hands and you can do it. So this is an opportunity to get inside the mind, which is a really dangerous place to walk around, but his tummy's feeling better, so let's see what Brett Blakemore's got up his dirty little sleeve.
I didn't like how you said that.
Your tummy's better.
The Canadians and the Finns are playing right now, still scoreless in the first period, about 5 minutes left.
I got to find that on this TV, by the way.
5 minutes into the first period, I should say. But my question to you, I was talking to some of my buddies last night. We're playing games, just hanging out. And he tells me, and I would love to get text from this on the Bradshaw and Bryant KFAN text line, your thoughts, because I think this could be a polarizing. I didn't think it was. I thought everyone thought like me. But he was rooting.
Nobody thinks like you. Continue.
Many people have said that. He was rooting, one of my buddies was rooting for Canada against the Czechs because he wants to play Canada in the gold to, quote, earn it, to make sure that we earn it for our gold medal, and it wouldn't be the same if we didn't beat Canada, because then we wouldn't be the best. I'm here to tell you, here's my response. I don't care how it comes. I don't care how the path is or how easy or hard it is. If you win that gold medal, you're the best team there. That's that.
Yeah.
So I was rooting so hard for Czechia. I'm rooting very hard for the Finns, although the Finns are a very good team, and that would be a challenge for the U.S. as well. But I'd rather play the Finns than the Canadians, that's for sure. I think, and I would love to get text on this, do you actually actively want to play Canada in the gold medal game? Or are you just saying, gold medal's a gold medal, I don't care how it comes?
A gold medal is a gold medal. This American squad has not medaled since 2010. They haven't captured gold in almost 50 years. I don't care who's on the other side of the ice. I'm taking that gold medal, I'm putting it on my mantle, and it is one of the biggest moments in the history of American hockey. And I don't care who's on the other side of the ice. If it's Canada, if it's Czechia, if it's the Russian Red Army, if it's my kids' Pee-wee Bantam team. I don't care who it is on the other end of the ice. An Olympic gold is an Olympic gold, so you take it in any way, shape, or form. But if you're an American, you're not rooting for the Canadian team. I don't care who's on that squad. Nick Suzuki, come on.
Well, there's that. Here, we'll go here. Crosby is not playing. The fan has learned for Canada right now. I get it's a third. I get the leadership. He wears the C. He's been there, done that. He scored the golden goal that I never want to see again. He's also the third line center. How much does this impact? I get you love the, well, he's a locker room guy, and he's the guy that everyone looks up to.
You can't talk down about Sidney Crosby. No,
I know.
You can downplay Marcus Foligno.
Lines above him, though.
You can downplay Marcus Foligno, but you can't downplay Sidney Crosby, one of the best.
This team.
There's no debate. He's one of the 4 best players to ever play the game. If you can have Sidney Crosby on the ice, you take it.
Of course.
So you can't downplay his impact on what he would be on that team, whether he's the first line, second line, or third line. Every guy on that roster, including Connor McDavid, especially Nate McKinnon, look up to Sidney Crosby. I don't care who wears the letter, but he does wear the letter when he's out there for good reason. He's earned it.
I didn't say he didn't. What I was saying is how much on the ice impact is this going to cause Canada now that Crosby, their third line center, is out for them.
Yeah, probably minimal.
Thank you. That's my point. There's not a whole lot.
Yeah, no, I mean, they're loaded regardless, especially, I got to get it on this TV. I haven't seen what their line combinations or anything look like.
I thought it was supposed to be on USA, but now they're doing speed skating, so I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, I plunked down money for Peacock for this very reason. And the only reason is so I could watch Olympic hockey, because they do screw around with, you never know if it's going to be on MSNBC or CNBC or NBC or whichever one of these conglomerations. So at least if you have the Peacock app, you can always find it and you can replay it, and it's always on demand. But it has been a hassle. I will cancel it the minute the Olympics are over, but I plunked down the money because that's the only way I could guarantee myself to watch what I want, when I want, how I want.
Let's go here. Just quickly, some text. Eric in Circle Pine saying the gold medal is absolutely the priority. If we beat Canada to get it, that would be much sweeter. So kind of riding the fence there. 612 guy says, I for sure want the Canada-USA final. That's the heavyweight championship bout. I don't disagree with that, but I would rather have the gold medal playing Finland than have a silver playing Canada.
So
I'd actively am rooting against Canada right now so we don't have to play them in the gold medal game. I can't believe that's preposterous.
It's probably not preposterous. I don't know that I'm rooting against Canada because I don't want the Americans to face them. If they do, then they do. That's fine. But still, beating Finland isn't exactly a cakewalk either.
No,
look at what Sweden did to them. I'm telling you.
I'm not saying it is. But who would you rather play in the gold medal game?
I think I would like their chances better against Finland.
There you go.
But I have no problem. If it's Canada or if it's Finland, you take who they throw up against you. This is the best American team they've had in maybe ever. When you look at the NHL talent that's loaded on there, their goaltending is rock solid. Their blue line is the best in the world. Certainly, they don't have the firepower of a Canadian team, but I like their chances against no matter who they play, and I think they could go toe-to-toe with Canada. I definitely like their chances better against Finland, but still, I don't care who it is. I will not set my alarm for anything at 7 o'clock in the morning on a Sunday, but I will get up especially early for that. What does Nordal call it? Eggs and kegs?
Kegs and eggs, yeah.
Kegs and eggs. I guess that's what I'm doing Sunday morning. If the Americans are in it, I'm watching it. If not, I'm watching it tape delay.
Godspeed to Dan Barrero, because I will be watching that game during sermons.
So will he, and he'll describe it on air.
Yeah, that's correct. Just looking at the lines, looks like it was updated earlier today. I still am not seeing a name on here that I'm wondering why he's not in the lines, and that's Kyle Connor.
Yeah.
He's a good player.
Yeah.
And he can put the puck in the net. And I get, we're not going to have the conversation about we need role players or penalty killers. I'm not even suggesting that he plays over a JT Miller or Trocheck, even though I think he should, but I don't want to have that conversation for the 15th time. But even just looking up and down, I'm not really crazy about like Keller's not in the lineup either. I guess I don't know where, now looking over it, I'm not sure where but I guess it would have to be over a JT Miller or a Trocheck, because the third line is Hughes, Larkin, Thompson. They've both been really good. Or they've all been really good.
Love that line.
And then the top
Dylan
six
Larkin.
is pretty much set. I mean, I guess if you want to throw him in for Gensel, but Gensel's been good too. So
I love Gensel.
As I'm talking this through to myself, now I'm questioning. But I like Kyle Connor. I think he's good enough to crack this roster somewhere, don't you think?
I would think so. Hard decisions. I mean, the decisions were hard on who to bring over there, and then you've got the best players in American hockey in theory, and then you have to figure out who's the odd man out, and unfortunately it looks like it's Kyle Connor, but I do love his game. I assume Hellebuck's the starter, and are the D pairs the same?
I can tell you the D pairs, they look to be the same to me, yes.
Yeah.
Let's look at the tweet because I'm sure, almost positive it's Hellebuck.
Yeah, it's got to be.
Without a doubt.
I can't believe Ottinger hasn't seen a second of action during this tournament thus far. It's been all Hellebuck, and then that one game for Swayman. I have no idea. I thought that was a mistake.
No one has. I have yet to see a solid, unless Ottinger's shooken up.
I have no idea.
Shooketh.
Yep.
I have yet to see anyone ask or like how Ottinger is head and shoulders better than Swayman.
Yeah.
Everyone knows that.
Yep.
So, yeah. And then he, of course, lets up a goal from the red line. Didn't cost the U.S., but...
Do you want to do one more?
Let's do one more here.
Got Tony Scott, by the way, coming up next, and we'll shift our focus over to the youth scene. Not only the boys section tournaments, but the girls tournament happening as we speak down at Grand Casino Arena. And there's very few people, he's going to be in studio, very few people that can touch on the youth scene better than Tony Scott. So if you want to get in on that conversation, you can text us 64686. Continue.
By the way, still 0-0 in the Canada-Finns game, but the Finns out shooting them 7-3. So... Oof. Momentum early on with the Finns. Where is your, for the Wild, where is your, I know you haven't traveled to St. Paul in weeks. Where is your big move-o-meter at? Do you feel like it's still a possibility and something likely for the Wild?
I do. I don't know what's going to cost them, but it just feels like a foregone conclusion that Vinny Trocheck is going to end up on this Wild roster. I don't know what it's going to cost them.
I said big move-o-meter.
Okay. Well, I don't know that there's any big move-o-meters to happen for this Wild team. What would be your big move-o-meter? You want Brady Tkachuk. I'm
just giving you a hard time.
Yeah.
Of course I do.
I know you do.
Yeah, but it's probably not.
It seems,
but neither was Quinn Hughes.
Yeah, you're right. But it seems like that's far-fetched. I would say it's more tangible and more realistic, and it almost seems probable that Vinny Trocheck will be here at some point in time once the season. Again, that's just my speculation, reading the tea leaves, reading between the lines with Russo, what he's saying, and watching the mannerisms of Trocheck out there in Milan. It feels like it's just a matter of time before he's on this roster, and I think he'd complement it very well. You know, you talk about that center ice depth and a guy that can play great two-way hockey and all the other stuff that you hate. I think that's important this time of year, and especially going into the playoffs.
I don't hate it at all. I think we just have a plethora of guys that already do that. That's my thing.
You know what? I know you're battling through some tummy issues, but
yes.
Brett Blakemore's breakaways were very good. Nice job, Brett. I mean, we might get back to that again over the final 2 hours, but I know what's coming up next. Tony Scott, we're talking youth hockey when we continue. Text us 64686 if you got questions about the girls tournament in St. Paul or the section tournaments happening across the great state of hockey. You wouldn't believe the stuff that's crawling around in that mind. Tony Scott next on The Fan.